been with them that long?
I've been with the chamber for 40 years. So
Yeah.
there for 8 years. So it's actually 10 years total when I become my complete service as a minority.
And if anybody's interested in the chamber, if they don't have a computer, where do they go and what do they call?
860
464
7373.
7373?
That's correct.
What county did you come from in Ireland?
A little west of Dublin, County Meath.
You lost your accent.
Not all of it.
Yeah, no, there's a trace.
All it takes is a phone call to get it back.
Tell folks anything else you want to say about good things happening in the New London area?
I would. We're in a very different economy, and we're encouraging people who to vacation locally. The euro is too expensive to travel abroad for most people, so I would really encourage people to think about Eastern Connecticut. It's a beautiful part of New England. In fact, I think it's the gateway to New England. There's just about everything here, from small towns, countryside. If you want to see go on board a submarine, we have a submarine museum there's nothing quite like it in the world.
Is that the same as the Mystic Museum? Isn't there a museum in Mystic that's famous?
The submarine museum, there's just one submarine museum in the region.
And is that Mystic?
It's in Groton, actually.
Oh, in Groton, huh?
Groton, yeah. Right on the Thames River. It's adjacent to the submarine base. There's some wonderful things to see and visit in Eastern Connecticut. If you are in the New York region, drive out to Long Island, take a ferry across to New London on the Crosstown Ferry.
What ferry is that? Is that from Long Island? Is that the Bridgeport ferry?
No, that'll be at Montauk Point area.
Oh, Montauk Point.
Yeah.
And you can take that into where?
Right into the harbor, New London.
I bet that's fun.
That is a lot of fun. It's a beautiful trip, and then from there you can rent a car and go to Mystic. You're right in New London. You don't need a car. You can walk around New London. New London has some of the most wonderful historic buildings. Rent a car to go into New London, up to Norwich. I mean, up into Mystic, rather, up to Norwich, out into the Limes, Old Lyme, East Lyme, all shoreline communities, most of them actually, and it makes for a wonderful vacation for a weekend or for a week for a family.
Oh, yes, it does. Sounds good.
So I would strongly recommend people to think about it, because I know that they'll be very pleasantly surprised and that they'll come back.
They can come and see you, Tony.
Well, they're always welcome. We'd always be delighted to have visitors.
Yes, go to the Chamber of Commerce. What is the address?
It's 39 Kings Highway in Gales Ferry. Gales Ferry is little known, but everybody knows the Yale-Harvard Regatta. It's one of the oldest sporting activities in the country.
Oh, really? And that's famous for that?
And it's famous for that. Both Yale and Harvard boathouses are in Gales Ferry.
Bulldog, Bulldog, bow, wow, wow.
There you go.
Eli Yale. I don't know John Harvard's song.
Yeah, well, I don't either.
So where is Gales Ferry?
It's right in the center of the territory that we cover. That's why we're here.
Mm-hmm.
It's very convenient. It's like 5 to 8 minutes to New London, 5 minutes to Groton, and another 10 minutes to Norwich. So it's right center. It's on the Thames River, further up the river than the submarine base.
Oh yeah, uh-huh.
It's a small village, and we're located in the village.
Oh yes, uh-huh. When was New London founded?
Oh gosh, it was
1670
or something of that order.
Yeah, right about there.
John Winthrop.
Oh, John Winthrop?
Yes.
Oh yeah, the famous cheer.
That's correct.
And now, I was wondering, what's the biggest event of the whole year that the Chamber of Commerce has?
Well, our biggest event of the whole year is generally our banquet for Citizen of the Year.
Oh boy!
We selected an individual who has been an outstanding businessman and also community leader and contributor to the community, to the good and welfare of the community. And each year we have we select one person, and probably our largest event.
And what month is that?
That is that is in April.
In April?
Yeah.
And who was it this...
This past year, it was the owner of a group of radio stations. His name is Robert Reed.
Robert Reed, R-E-I-D?
Yes.
Does he come from Albany?
No.
Okay.
His family has been in the Waterford, the Norwich
Oh,
area
okay.
for many years.
Because I know a Robert Reed who lived in Albany and was handled television for General Electric there, and he was in sales.
Uh-huh.
So it was a close.
There is another huge event that's worth thinking about, especially if you're a member of the boating community. To get your boat over here from, take your boat over from wherever, Long Island or anywhere along the coastline. Each year, and I don't have the date, but each year there is a spectacular fireworks that's displayed by the Mashantucket Pequot Tribal Nation. And it's right in the middle of the river, so that citizens of both on the Groton side as well as the New London Waterford side can partake in it. And usually, up to 1 million people show up for it.
Really?
Yeah, it's huge. And then each week,
1 million people?
yeah, it's enormous. I mean, you have to understand it's up and down the river, so that it's one of the biggest events probably in Connecticut each year.
In what month?
And I don't have the month, and I think it's somewhere around mid-July or may even be.
Yeah.
I don't think it's the 4th of July, but it's in the summer months anyway. I don't have the month, the dates in front of me. But if you log on to the Chamber webpage, we'll have it on there in a couple of weeks, the date, and then you'll be able to find out. And then there's another event each week during the summer. There's an event that the Mohican Sun puts on. They put on fireworks every evening. It's not quite as large, but it's quite spectacular.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Uh-huh. And is that open to the public?
Open to the public.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, that's good. How far up does the Thames? How far up is it navigable?
All the way up to Norwich.
It is.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
And that's for the boating community, just to take your boat to the New London area, go up the Thames River. You'll see the submarines. You can't get too close to them, obviously, for obvious reasons. You'll see the Pfizer facility, submarine base, the Harvard Yale boathouses. You'll see. You can go. You see the Mohican Sun on your left as you go up to Norwich. You can go right into the downtown Norwich area.
Oh.
Yeah, so it's a beautiful ride too. I mean, it's really it makes for a lovely weekend, or you can do it in a few hours if you want to, but you know.
You'll have to bring all your Irish relatives over for that.
Some of them, shall we say.
Yeah, you ought to bring them over for that. It must be quite a trip to take a ship from New York and go up to New London.
It's really we're very undiscovered, much to a lot of people's appreciation.
Really, really.
Yeah, the property values are still reasonable, compared to New York or Boston prices.
Yeah.
And it's a beautiful part of the country, an absolutely beautiful part of the country.
And Amtrak goes through there too, don't they?
Amtrak goes through New London. They have, I think it's around 20 trains a day.
Really?
But not all of them stop at New London. Some of the high-speed high-speed trains do not stop in New London.
Oh yeah. Uh-huh.
Enough regular trains that do.
I bet you that's kind of a nice trip too.
Yeah, it is a great trip, and then from there you can sort of rent a car then in New London and sort of drive around. It makes for a lovely vacation.
Where do they go? Up to Boston and stop?
You can, from there, we're a couple of hours travel to almost anywhere.
Really?
In this part of the state.
Do they have any trains going up to Maine anymore?
No.
No.
Well, actually, that's not true. You'd have to go into Boston and get one from Boston.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Do they have trains going from Boston up to Maine?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, that's lovely. Yeah. What's the...
A little west of here, we have the Connecticut River.
Yeah.
Which runs all the way up to Hartford, through Hartford up to Farmington.
And up to Springfield?
Up to Springfield, all the way up to, you could go all the way up to Dartmouth College in Vermont.
You can?
Yes.
On the Connecticut River?
Connecticut River, yeah.
Oh.
Again, a wonderful boating opportunity.
Oh, that's nice. Well, what's the temperature range?
In this area?
Yeah, in the London area.
Mild winters, generally, but the weather, like today, is just
get sunshine?
Lots of sunshine.
Yeah, we got overcast, and I think it's probably going to come your way. Did you have that hailstorm that we had?
We had a very vicious thunderstorm last night.
You did last night?
Not hail, no. Just lots of rain.
You know how big a Sharpie pen is, don't you?
Oh, yeah.
All right, that's how big around they were, and they were about 1 inch long.
Oh.
And there must have been about 200 of them.
Wow.
It actually dimpled my neighbor's car who didn't get it in the garage in time.
Hmm.
So it was pretty severe. It was at 4 p.m. And I videotaped it. It was so unusual.
Terrific.
Yeah.
Well, you I'll send it to the Weather Channel.
Tell me what you've done with Chamber of Commerce nationwide, worldwide.
We're in the verge of going a little bit more far afield than we have ever in the past. We're now, because of the exchange rate of the dollar, we're now looking at tourism in Western Europe, Germany, England, and Ireland specifically.
Oh, I see.
And there's when they come to this part of New England from Western Europe, they just love it. A lot of the Western Europeans over the years have gone to New York or Boston or Philadelphia.
Oh, good.
And they think they've seen America, but New England is such a beautiful place, and there's so many, especially around here, small towns that are and villages that are really have not changed much in the past 100 years.
Really?
And they're just beautiful.
Oh, good.
And
Yeah.
when they come here, they're just awed at how picturesque this area is.
Well, Tony, is there anything else you want to say?
Not really. I would appreciate the opportunity to chat with you.
Well, I thought it was a great fun. Now, I'll send you down, let's see, New London. They take DVD, don't they?
Yes.
Uh-huh. So, and what do you want your copy on, a DVD or a VHS?
I think maybe you better send me both.
Send you both?
Yeah, because I say yes. I'm not sure they can take it over there. At the studio.
Oh, I think they can, I've had shows on New London.
Okay, well then they can, if you know they can.
And they take a DVD.
Yeah.
But I can send you both if you'd like.
I think maybe if you want to, I mean, that would help.
Yeah, that's okay. And then you take it over to them. And when you sign, don't sign as a chamber, Tony. Sign as an individual.
Okay.
Yeah, because then if you sign as an individual, then it'll be a couple weeks, 3 weeks or so before we have our next program. And if you sign as an individual, then I can put a Chat with Glendora programs in between.
Okay.
While we're waiting to do our second or third program or whatever.
That sounds good.
Yeah, it sounds very good. Well, now let's see. We've got the telephone number, we've got the address, and we've got the website.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we got it covered, don't you think, folks?
Great.
Okay.
Well,
Okay.
Thank you very much for the opportunity.
My pleasure. Let's see. I have to tell you. So now we also want to thank Mary Jane and Joe Page and Metrocast. And we'll try to get his program, as I mentioned, onto Willimantic system and the Groton system and the Norwich system. You want to, hey, come here a second. Wait, let the people see this great face. Yeah, let them see this great. Oh, no. It isn't that bad. It isn't that bad. Look at that face. Look at that great face. The girl said to her girlfriend, I see spots before my eyes. And her girlfriend was, have you seen a doctor? And the first girl says, no, just spots. And another girl, doctor told another girl, you have acute appendicitis. And she says, no, listen, doc. I came here to be examined, not flattered. The doctor said to the patient, there's nothing I can do for your disease, it's hereditary. And the patient said, then send the bill to my father. And this woman was, during the 1940s and 50s, she took her child to have a shot for the German measles, and she was so fussy she asked for 2 shots, one for East Germany and one for West Germany. Bill says to Pete, "My dog is like one of the family." And Pete says, "Which one?" And a man put an ad in the newspaper for a dog. Excuse me. A man put an ad in the newspaper for a secretary. And 3 days later, there was a heavy knock on the door, and he opened the door, and here's this great, great big dog. "Are you applying for the ad for secretary?" The dog says, "Woof." And the man says, "Well, can you typewrite?" And the dog says, "Woof." And the man says, "Can you take shorthand?" And the dog says, "Woof." And the man says, "Well, one more question. Are you bilingual?" And the dog says, "Woof." Meow. You heard about the dog who played poker? He was not astute. Whenever he got a good hand, he would wag his tail. That's a nice thing about dogs. They wag their tails instead of their tongues. Why did the inventor cross an electric blanket with a toaster? So people will pop out of bed in the morning. Do you know that Rose Ernst, who is Robert Farwell's secretary at the Otis Library in Norwich, do you know she actually got that? I think I've told that joke 2,000 times. And she actually got it. So people would pop out of bed in the morning. The boy wrote home to his father from college. He says, "Dad, I joined the drama club, and I've already got a part in a play. I play the part of a man who's been married 35 years. His dad wrote back and he was, "Good son. I hope in your next drama that you'll get a speaking part." Economists say that things are going to pick up in the last quarter. And Andrew said, "Good. I'm down to my last quarter." Now, there are some things that money cannot buy. For instance, it cannot buy what it bought last month. And teenagers certainly know the value of $1. That's why they ask for 20. Any teacher will tell you that some students have a spark of genius. For every student who has a spark of genius, there are 9 others who have ignition problems. And the teacher retiring said it was great in the old days. The kids used to bring you apples, and nowadays they just drive you bananas. Now, do you know behind every successful man is what? Right. A proud wife and a flabbergasted mother-in-law. This is Glendora, a cheerful look at life. Keep the courage flaming. Well now, boys and girls, this is a chat with Glendora and Mr. Lee Dowland.
It's a leaf like on a tree.
Yes, Mr. Lee Dowland. Spelled L-E-I-F, right?
Correct.
And Dowland is spelled D-A-H-L-I-N.
Correct.
Leaf, tell the boys and girls the title of your job, would you?
Director of Community Services.
Well, that sounds pretty good. What does that consist of?
Well, I have oversight of 6 departments for the capital city of Maine, which is Augusta. I have charge for our public library.
Oh, really?
Old Fort Western, a living history museum, and it's the oldest wooden military structure in the United States.
Really?
And Benedict Arnold has some history here.
Oh.
We also have a child care bureau, recreation bureau, parks, cemeteries, and trees bureau. We also have health and welfare, where we try to take care of those folks who have some needs that they can't meet. As well as I staff the Conservation Commission, the
Cable TV committee, as well as other committees the city manager or city council may assign me to.
Now, is that a new thing to put those all under one umbrella?
It is new for me in the last 7 years, because prior to that I was strictly in Parks and Recreation.
Oh.
But community services is becoming, you're seeing more and more of it,
Oh.
where they're combining a number of functions, and these are quality of life functions, really. When you think about what I do, it's all about quality of life.
Yes, right, yeah.
Put them all under one department, and I manage that department.
I bet you like it.
I enjoy it immensely.
Yes, I should think so. You've been doing it how long, you said?
Well, this particular community of Augusta, I've been here since May of 2001, so 7 years.
Wait. Now, Lee, where were you born?
I was born in Cortland, New York.
Cortland, New York.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, let me think. There's something famous in Cortland. It's
Oh,
a college. Isn't there a famous college in Cortland?
Well, there is the Corning Glass.
That's it.
Yeah,
On Route 17.
correct.
Oh, yes. Okay. Yes, that's right. And the State University of New York is at Binghamton.
And then, of course, Ithaca's close by, and with Cornell University and Ithaca College.
And Ithaca College, right. You were born in Cortland.
Yes, ma'am.
And then where'd you go from there?
Well, I grew up in Westmoreland, New York, a little farm town up near the Syracuse, Utica, Rome area.
Oh, really? Uh-huh.
Went to K-12 in the same school system, and then from there I went on to college for a couple of years in Briarcliff Manor, New York, called the King's College.
King's College in Briarcliff Manor
Yes, ma'am.
in Westchester County.
That is correct.
Not so far from Manhattan.
That is correct. We used to go into the city all the time.
Yeah.
Then from there, I went to work for the Bell system back before it was divested. It was AT&T. Spent a few years with them, but I really wasn't satisfied with what I was doing.
Where was that located?
That was in, I worked in Rome, Utica, and Syracuse.
Oh, okay.
Those three communities.
Yep, yep.
And then I left the Bell system, and shortly after I went out to the West Coast, to Eugene, Oregon, where I worked for a while, and then moved up to Seattle for a little bit. But Seattle was just too big of a city for me, so I moved back down to Eugene with my wife and went to college there at the University of Oregon.
Well, we've got to play this on Chat with Glendora in Portland, Oregon.
Oh, terrific. Well, I went to school at University of Oregon in Eugene, where I got my undergraduate and graduate degrees in the Parks and Recreation field for management and administration.
Management and administration. What would that be? A bachelor's and a master's?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, yes.
Science and a master's of science in both.
Well, I've got you here. Is Gresham big? Gresham, near Portland, Oregon. Is that
It's a bedroom community.
Oh, okay.
A nice community.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And so then, where'd you go from there?
After graduate school, I moved back east to New York, where I stayed with my family, my parents, until I secured full-time employment in my profession, which was in Amherst, Massachusetts.
Oh, there's another college.
Yep.
Sure.
Well, many colleges. That's a five-college area there.
Yes, I had that new college, Hampshire, whatever it is.
Oh, yeah. Hampshire and Smith and Amherst College and University of Mass at Amherst. And there, with my wife and two babies, I worked for the town of Amherst, Massachusetts, in the Parks and Rec field there.
Oh, yes. And here you were a degreed boy.
Yes, ma'am. So I got full-time employment in my profession.
We forgot Mount Holyoke. We have to mention Mount Holyoke.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
And from there?
To Middlebury, Vermont.
Oh, really?
Yes, ma'am. Where I spent 9 years in Middlebury as the Parks and Recreation Director.
My goodness, you covered the country well.
I love to travel. And after Middlebury, Vermont, I went south about an hour to Rutland, Vermont.
Oh, really?
Where I was superintendent of recreation and parks, and a much larger operation there, and had a lot more staff to work with. And in 2001, I came to the great capital city of Maine, Augusta.
Oh, yes. Does your family like it up there?
We enjoy it immensely. My heritage really is Maine, where in 1870, my great-great-grandparents on my dad's side immigrated to New Sweden, Maine, from Sweden. And there was a recruitment that went on back then by a gentleman named Thomas. The governor then recruited a gentleman to bring some Swedes to Aroostook County.
Yeah.
And so my heritage is Maine, and my dad and my mom were married here and had their honeymoon on Katahdin, and they had a dairy farm here, and actually a sister of mine, their firstborn, drowned here in Maine, and my grandparents are laid to rest here, as is my sister, so I very much feel connected to Maine.
Laid to rest where?
In Skowhegan.
In Skowhegan.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, this New Sweden, how far is that from Presque Isle?
Oh gosh, that's still Presque Isle. I'm not an hour or so, anyways.
Yeah.
It's up there ways.
Yeah.
It's up near the Canadian border.
And so it really was Swedes, huh?
It was totally sweet from New Sweden.
Yeah. This Swedish construction crew, they got a job to refurbish an apartment on the 3rd floor, and in the afternoon, toward the end of the day, the foreman came around, and he called up to me, he cupped his hands over his mouth, and he says, "Hey, you guys finished?" And they said, "No, we're Swedish."
That sounds about right. We have a very good work ethic.
Now, what would you recommend for a boy or a girl to get started or come up to such a career today?
Well, you need a good work ethic, first and foremost. Know how to work. You need to be a very personable person and with good people skills. I believe you have to be passionate about what you do, because this is not a job, this is a living. And it's so important to understand that if I get called out at 2 o'clock in the morning because of something that's happened in a park or in a building, I need to respond to it. So you have to be on call effectively 24/7, as that phrase goes. But it is a great profession, and it is a wonderful living, and it is not a job. And it is...
It's a love.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You need to get a good education.
Yeah, now tell us about that.
Well, I was an average kid in school, and it wasn't until I knew what I wanted to do that really my academics excelled. And I'm very proud of the fact that at the University of Oregon I maintained a 3.98 average GPA.
Woo!
And in my graduate work I did a 3.8. So, but I knew what I wanted to do then.
Who robbed you of the .2?
The head of the department.
Okay. Okay. Well, I think that's wonderful. When you found out what you wanted to do, then you could put your everything into it.
Absolutely. But in the meantime, you know, young people don't want to get themselves bogged down. And as I tell my sons, maximize your assets and minimize your liabilities. Because if you get too many liabilities, be it too much debt, or you start having babies at a young age and you don't know what you want to do yet, it makes it very difficult to go back to college to get a good education.
Yes.
So don't get yourself so tied down that if all of a sudden you realize what you do want to do for a living, you can't because you're trapped. Get yourself trapped or boxed in.
The undergraduate major should be what?
Mine was in Parks and Recreation.
Oh, that actually was a major. Huh?
Absolutely. They call it today leisure studies, and there's different areas you can look at, whether it's in the municipal sector or in a therapeutic. There's a therapeutic recreation major. There's commercial and hospitality, those that want to work in the private sector at hotels, resorts, golf courses. You stop and think about it, the greatest contributor to our gross national product in this country are recreational related things, whether it's skiing, boating, fishing, hunting, resorts. That's all recreation. And the movies, going to the movies, you know, the libraries, all of that is recreational related. And it truly is the single greatest contributor to our gross national product each year.
So, I guess it's the old story, Leaf. You go to college to major in recreation.
Yes, ma'am. I'm a great player. They call me Dr. Play.
You know who one of the most famous parks department people, heads there is? Would you like to tell you that?
Please.
Yes. Springfield, Massachusetts.
I know Springfield very well.
Yes, and the head of the Parks Department there was Theodore Geisel, and his son is Dr. Seuss.
Ah, interesting.
Yeah?
I knew the director there some years ago, but I suspect it was long after that gentleman was the director there.
Well, I can tell you when that would be. Just a minute. My husband was a reporter on the Springfield, Massachusetts Union. He got out of Boston University right after the war, so then he was there 10 years. It would be the 50s.
Yeah. No, Ed was there in the 80s when I was down there.
Oh, yeah. That's it. Well, is there anything else you want to tell the boys and girls?
Well, be true to yourself and work hard and make sure you pay your dues and you got to work hard for everything you get.
Yeah.
There is no free lunch.
No, there isn't. Well, I thank you for that, Lee.
Glendora, I appreciate your time.
Yeah, it's going to be good. We'll play this, as I say, Chat with Glendora is on in Metro East, they call it, cable TV in Portland, Oregon, which is really Gresham. And we'll play it in the other places, too. This is good. Thank you for helping the youth.
It's my pleasure. I'm sorry it took so long, but I needed to get through my surgery, and
Yeah, you feel pretty good today?
I feel terrific, thank you.
Yeah. Wasn't that wonderful?
Well, it's coming along very nicely, thanks.
Yeah, that's good.
Very good.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.